let's learn what are vectors in our programming language. So a vector is a sequence of data elements or values. Right? You can also consider vectors as a one-dimensional array. And you must have studied about 1D arrays in C or C++. Actually, 1D arrays are present in many other programming languages. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a 1D array. Okay, now if we talk about vectors in mathematical terms, you must have studied about matrices and vectors in your high school. And if you studied them, you must remember that a matrix was something like this. So for example, this is a matrix of the order 3 cross 3, 3 rows and 3 columns. Now you must also remember that if you extract one column from this matrix, so for example, let's say this column. If you extract one column from a matrix, you used to call it a vector. So we can also write it like this, 1, 2, and 3. This is a vector. So we talked about scalars in the previous video, and we learned that scalar is a one single value, right? But vectors are sequence of values, not a single value, but sequence of values. And we also learned three basic data types, and they were numeric, character, and logical. So we learned how to make scalars of these three data types. So now we can also make vectors of these three data types. And let's see how will we do that. Let's see an example of vectors of each of these three basic data types. Let's create a vector of numeric data type. I'm going to call it O. And O equals to, so now if you want to create a vector, you use the keyword C, right? This is the keyword. You write C and then round brackets, and then the values of your sequence of your vector goes inside these round brackets, right? So let's say I'm going to create a vector with these three values, 1, 2, and 3. So this is how I will write it. Let's add some floating point values in it too. So let's say 3.5 maybe, and 4, let's say -1, let's say 2. I'm going to press enter, and here I have created a vector of the type numeric. And this is my vector. Now let's create a vector of character data type, and let's call it P. So P equals to, by the way, we can use both these signs for assigning this, less than, and hyphen, and equals to. We can use both of them for assigning, for creating a variable. Okay, now P equals to, again, the keyword C for vectors. And let's create a vector of character data type. That means we will have characters or strings in it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can write whatever we want in it though. So this is the vector of character data type. Now let's create a vector of logical type. Again, true, so let's make all other false. Let's make the last value true. Okay, so this is my logical vector. Press enter, and you can see Q is a logical vector, and these are the values stored in it. And we can also display them. So if I press O and press enter, I can see my vector here. If I want to display all of them together at the same time, I can use this, right? I will write O semicolon P semicolon Q, and then I'll press enter. So all of them will be displayed at the same time. Let's perform some different kinds of operations on these vectors. So here is a fun fact. I can use my logical vector to extract value from any of the other vectors, any other two vectors, right? How will I do that? So for that, if I write, for example, O square brackets and q. The name of my logical vector is q, right? So I can write q here. What will happen is all those values against which there is true present of q vector, they will be displayed. And by that what I mean is, for example, you can see this is the first vector. It has 6 values. This is the last logical vector, last vector, third vector. It has again 6 values. So considering this first value against this first value, right? So first value of O against first value of Q. So if the true is written, 1 will be displayed. Again, here true is written, 2 will be displayed. But the third value is false, and the third value of O vector is 3.5. So this value won't be displayed. And what I mean by that, let's run this command and we will see. So you can see 1, 2, and again false, false, false. Last one is true. So last value is 2, that is displayed here. That's how it works. And we can also do that for this character vector. Let's do it for that. So the name of character vector is P. So write P and then Q inside it and press enter. So you can see 1, 2, and just 6 is displayed because the other 3 values are false. So you can use your logical vectors to extract values from any other vector. Okay, now we can give a name to each component of any vector. So for example, I have this vector. This is my vector. I want to give each and every component of this vector, each and every value of this vector, a name. So how can I do that? I can do that by writing the keyword names and round brackets, and here I will write the name of the vector whose values I want to give some name. So this vector is O actually. So I'm going to write O here, and then I can assign another vector to it whose values will be the names of the values of this vector. So it's a bit confusing. Let's see what I mean by this. Let's run this command and you will understand it better. So P is the vector, this 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So I'm gonna use the values present inside P to name the values present inside the vector O. So let's see what will happen. Press enter, and now let's display O. Now you can see the value, first value is named 1, second value is named 2, third is named 3, 4 is named 4. The fifth value, which is actually -1, is named 5. And how is it happening? It is actually, these are all the values that were present in the vector P, the character vector, right? So they are named here. So that's how you can name your vector. And we can, if we have named our vector, we can also extract the values of our vector using those names. For example, let's say I want to extract this value. I want to extract 3.5, right? So I will write O, square brackets, and the name here. The name is 3, and then press enter. So this value can be extracted this way. I can also extract 5. So for example, let's say O 5, press enter, and you can see -1 is extracted. So that's how you, if you have named your vector, the values named the, so if you have named the values of your vector, you can extract the values using those names. Now let's learn about vector slicing. And by vector slicing, we mean to fetch some particular values from a vector. So if you have a range of values in a vector, we can choose our custom range. For example, I can extract 3 values instead of all 6 values. This is what we mean. So let's learn it. For that, let me clear my console first. All right. Let's say I have a vector. Let's call it a slice underscore v. So this is my vector, and I'm gonna assign it a vector with this vector. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So it has 10 values. These 10 values. Press enter. You can see it in your environment. Now let's slice it. So I want to display this vector, but I just want to display, let's say, some values in it. So we can use, so first of all, we will write the name of my vector, slice underscore v, and then I will write square brackets and I will define the range here. The range, I have defined the range as 1 to 5. Now you can see that only first 5 values are displayed. So the range works like this. Now you can see that with the range 1 to 5, we mean first element and all the way up to fifth element. So fifth element is included. We wrote 5 here and fifth is included. If you are familiar with Python, you must know that there's a range function in Python too. And the way we define range there is a little bit different from this. In Python, if we write a range, something like this, if we write the range like this, fifth element won't be included in Python. It means that the values will be displayed from 1 till 4. But that's how it happens in Python, not in R. So in R, in this particular function, when we are slicing the vector, 5 is included. So you can say it's less than or equals to, if I'm defining the range, if you're thinking of it like a for loop, it's like the endpoint is less than and equals to. So fifth element is included. That's important. So now you have learned how to use this range. So similarly, we can use it to create a vector too. For example, C 1 to 10, and 10 values are created. Right? This is very fascinating. Let's store this in some value. So y is equals to C and let's say we want to create a vector with 5 to 15. Let's say like this. Press enter, and you can see the vector here. Let's widen it. Okay, let's just display it. Instead of doing that, let's just display y. So you can see it is created from the values are started from 5 and ending till 15. So that's how you can use this range to create a vector or to slice a vector.